तो नमस्कार, भागनगर, आदाब। मेरी टॉक ज़्यादातर अंग्रेज़ी में रहेगी, मगर परमिट मी टू यूज़ माई लैंग्वेज, दैट इज़ हिंदुस्तानी, a mixture of Urdu and Hindi. And I'll be using some Urdu couplets, और हो सकता है कि वो इससे आप इसे पसंद करें। हर हैदराबादी को पसंद करना चाहिए। अब आपकी जिम्मेदारी है कि सुनिए और अप्रिशिएट कीजिए। So before I start my talk, let me express my gratitude to Telangana for allowing me to come here and tell something about our city. My deep sense of gratitude to Srimati Bhargavi, कि उन्होंने मुझे एक नए प्लेटफॉर्म पे लाके खड़ा किया। वो टॉपिक जो मेरे दिल के करीब है, बिकॉज आई एम पैशनेट है, और वॉट एवर शी हैज स्पोकन अबाउट मी, आई एम वेरी थैंकफुल टू यू। ख्वाहिश नहीं मुझे मशहूर होने की, ख्वाहिश नहीं मुझे मशहूर होने की, आप मुझे जानते हैं, बस इतना ही काफ़ी है। अब मैं अपना रूप चेंज करता हूँ। अब मैं नहीं हूँ, अब मैं हैदराबाद में चेंज हूँ। मैं हैदराबाद हूँ। यूँ मेरा पुराना नाम भागनगर है, जो बिगड़ते बिगड़ते भाग्य नगर हो, तो सही है। यूँ मुझे बाग नगर भी कहा जाता है, मगर मैं मशहूर हुआ हैदराबाद के नाम से, क्योंकि जब भागमती को हैदर महल बनाया, कौन भागमती कौन हैदर महल बाद में बताऊंगा, तो मैं हैदराबाद में गया। और आज मैं मेरी लगभग 350 ईयर्स हिस्ट्री आई एम गोइंग टू ब्रिंग फोर्थ। हो सकता है कि कहीं कुछ कमी रह गई, और शायद 1 घंटे में 340 साल को समेटना इज अ वेरी डिफिकल्ट टास्क। However, I'll try to do that. मैंने कहा मैं हैदराबाद हूँ, हैदराबाद नहीं, हैदराबाद दक्कन, because there is another Hyderabad in Pakistan, near Karachi, Hyderabad, Sindh. But I have become famous all over the world, not that Hyderabad. Poets, writers have written extensively about it. मुल्ला वजही, a कुतुब शाही poet, says कि दक्कन मुल्क बहुत ही खासा है, स्पेशल, और तेलंगाना उसका खुलासा है। It's very special thing. About 400 years back, there was a mention of Telangana. तो दक्कन मुल्क बहुत ही खासा है, तेलंगाना उसका खुलासा है। दक्कन है नगीना, दैट इज जेम। दक्कन है नगीना, अंगूठी है जब, अंगूठी को हुर्मत नगीना ही लग। किसी ने कहा कि बहुत खूबसूरत शहर मैंने देखे, मगर तेरा जादू कहीं भी नहीं है। अगर प्यार और मोहब्बत की धरती कहीं है, तो बेशक नहीं है, नहीं है, नहीं। किसी ने कहा इसका दाना मीठा, इसका पानी मीठा, इसकी बानी मीठी, इसकी रवानी मीठी। बहुत से लोगों ने बहुत सी बातें कही। Somebody called me as the city of horns and pearls. Matthew Arnold referred me as the city of dancing minarets. Pandit Nehru had referred me as the heart of India. One important thing which I would like to tell here is, whoever has come to my place has never looked back to go to his ancestral place. चार मीनार, मक्का मस्जिद और मूसी का पानी। चार मीनार, मक्का मस्जिद और मूसी का पानी। अरे भाई, एक बार जो आए मुसाफिर, क्या घर लौट जानी? एक बार जो यहाँ आता है वो घर लौट के नहीं जाता। Am I right? Shalka, am I right? But then I have got a rich culture. I may be called as a cultural bowl of rich traditions, culture. People from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, Assam to Gujarat, they're all. There has been a synthesis of the culture brought by Qutub Shahs, by Asaf Jas, by Mughals, and later on, after the independence, many more people came here. But now, before I tell something about me, Hyderabad, I'd like to take you to my ancestral place. Where seeds of my growth were sown. Golkunda. That is my ancestral place. The old name of Golkunda, according to some records, is Mankha or Mangalaram. It was called as Gollakunda. Before Qutub Shah, many Hindu rulers ruled Golkunda. Gollakunda. Golla is milkman or shepherd. In Telugu we say Gollollu. Hindi we say Gawale. It seems the shepherds used to graze their cattle there around Golkunda. That's how it has become from Gollakunda to Golkunda. Sultan Khuli Qutbul Mulk, a Bahmani governor, took charge as the governor of Golkunda in 1518. After assuming the charge, he declared his independence, established the Qutub Shahi Empire in 1518. He was the first Qutub Shah. He had a very long life, 90s. He developed the fort, which was of a mud, dilapidated, small, and named it as Muhammad Nagar. But that name did not last long. Still, my ancestral home is known as Golkunda. Unfortunately, the first Qutub Shah was killed while he was praying at the instigation of his son Jamshed Khuli, because Jamshed was getting older और बड़े मियाँ तो बस रहते ही जा रहे हैं, उम्र बढ़ती जा रही है, तो भाई मैं कब बनूँ बादशाह? तो बेटर यही है कि बड़े मियाँ को ख़त्म कर दूँ। He was killed. Jamshed became second ruler. He was not loved and liked by the subject. During that time, his younger brother, Ibrahim, fled Golkunda and took refuge in Vijayanagar. That I will tell you later. After 7 years, Jamshid died, leaving his 7-year-old son Subhan to become the third Qutb Shah. But the nobles, courtiers, the generals were not happy with their child as the king. So they persuaded Ibrahim to return to Golconda and take the reins of Golconda in his hand. Ibrahim returned with his wife, Bhagirathi, a Vijayanagar princess. See the twist of destiny. He came here and became the fourth Qutb Shah. He was there for 7 years, so he became proficient in Telugu. He was a very kind-hearted king, loved by his subject, by Janata. And people used to call him as Abhirama. From Ibrahim, they used to call him as Abhirama. In his court, there were many Telugu poets. Danki, Harihara, Govindrajan, Sri Hari, they were all Telugu poets, great Telugu poets. That means he encouraged Telugu. So you may call that he was a secular king. Two important things happened during his reign. Number one, he built the first bridge over Musi, known as Purana Hoon, linking the north and the south. Purana Hoon. And he founded Ibrahim Patan, Ibrahim Bagh, and a big lake in Ibrahim Patan. After his death, his second son, जो मेरा जन्मदाता है, हैदराबाद का जन्मदाता, मोहम्मद कुली कुतुब शाह, he became the next king. Then he founded a city, me, and after his beloved wife, Bhagmati, gave the name as Bhag Nagar. Now, one important point which I would like to raise here. Taj Mahal was built by Shah Jahan in memory of his beloved wife Mumtaz, dedicated to the memory of Mumtaz. But here, Quli Qutb Shah has built a city and named it after his beloved. So you can judge who has done a commendable job. Quli Qutb Shah was a very great king. He was the poet in Dakani language. Dakani is a mixture of Urdu, Persian, Telugu, Marathi, Hindi. How, Nakko, Kaiku, Chareng, Hareng, zero. Dakani language. His collection of poems was published, and there's the first authentic publication of Diwan or collection of poems. Kulliyat-e Quli Qutb Shah. He was a great architect, lover of nature. He asked his Prime Minister, Sayyid Mir Mobin, to build a city which must resemble heaven. Many palaces were built. Then my identity in the world, Char Minar, was also built in 1591. Bazaar around Char Minar, the four commands, the Guzar House, Darul Shifa, and then 7 palaces. And now I request you to attend to this particular point. Attention please. A palace known as Daulat Khane Ali, which was the royal palace, was 7-storied. each story having a garden. Unbelievable in those days. Sajan Mahal, Gagan Mahal, Nadi Mahal, Kohetu, Udadad Mahal, these are all the palaces built by me, by my generator, who brought me to this world, Mera Janm Data. When he died, as he had no male issue, his daughter Hayat Bakshi Begum was wedded to his nephew Sultan Mirza, who was the son of his elder brother Muhammad Amin and Khanam Agha. I request you to pay attention to this. Mazab tank, usually they dedicate it to Hayat Bakshi Begum, but the record which I have served, which was built by Khanam Agha, was a tank about 50-60 years back, beginning of the tank, Mat Sahab tank. Now this lady was a great lady. She was referred as Ma Saheba, respected mother, what we in Hindi call Mata Shri. She founded Hayat Nagar, a palace there, a big mosque with sarai, that is inn, and bell. Big. They still exist, except the palace. So by virtue of being the son-in-law, Sultan Mirza became the next Qutub Shahi king. He was also fond of constructing buildings. So he laid the foundation stone of another city near Sarur Nagar, what Sarur Nagar is nowadays, and he called it as Sultan Nagar. Unfortunately, that project never completed. People say that in late 40s or early 50s, they saw the ruins of the fort and the palace of Sultan Nagar. The most important contribution of Sultan Mirza is laying the foundation stone of Mecca Masjid. When he died, his son Abdullah Qutub Shah, who was very young, he became the next Qutub Shahi king. Abdullah Qutub Shah was a pleasure seeker. He built the Goshamel Palace. Only the Baradari remains now. It's a part of Goshamel Palace, where there is the Freemasons Lodge. So Abdullah Qutub Shah built a palace on Naubat Pahad, which is very near the Fateh Maidan, where the Birla Planetarium exists now. There was a palace built by Abdullah Qutub Shah. Now I'd like to tell you something more about Hayat Bakshi Begum. I think there are only two instances in the history where such great women were born. Hayat Bakshi Begum, daughter of a king, wife of a king, and mother of a king. Daughter of Quli Qutub Shah, wife of Sultan Mirza, and mother of Abdullah Qutub Shah. A parallel can be drawn to Bibi Fatima, daughter of Hazrat Muhammad, who was married to Hazrat Ali, the founder of Shia sect of Islam, and mother of Hassan and Hussain, who were martyred in Karbala. Now coming back to Abdullah Qutub Shah. Abdullah Qutub Shah had only 3 daughters. The eldest one was married to the eldest son of Aurangzeb, Ahmad Shah. Second was married to an Iranian general, and they were then on the lookout for the bridegroom of the third daughter. So on the advice of the Guru or Murshid of Abdullah Qutub Shah, Shah Raju Khattar, whose shrine is in Misriganj, Old City. The third daughter was given in marriage to his very pet disciple, Abul Hassan, who was fondly called as Tana Shah. So the third daughter was married to Abul Hassan Tana Shah, and the last Qutub Shahi king was Abul Hassan Tana Shah. Abul Hassan Tana Shah is a controversial figure in history. But I'd like to clear that doubt, and please clear that doubt in your mind also. Abul Hassan Tana Shah was a very kind-hearted king. Never troubled anybody, never went to war, never assassinated anybody. He was not an authoritarian. He was a peace-loving, pleasure-loving king. But yet now, in the 20th century or before, whenever there is a reference of a dictator or an authoritarian king or ruler or leader, we call him as Tana Shah. And the famous slogan, Tana Shahi nahi chalegi. Why that poor man is attacked when he was not a dictator? He was not cruel. He was a very peace-loving man, a very secular-minded. Why? Because he had many great Hindus in his darbar. Akkanna and Madanna. Akkanna was the finance minister and Madanna was the prime minister. Rustum Rao, Venganna, Peddanna, they are all the generals of Tana Shah. And for information, in almost all the forts and fortresses, the in charge were Hindus. Even the revenue collector, what is Malguzari, taxes, they were all Hindus. Perhaps this gift Aurangzeb. Earlier he had attacked Golconda. But a treaty was signed between Abdullah Qutub Shah with the help of his mother, Hayat Bakri. A huge amount was paid. Then he had left. So coming back to Tana Shah, the last Qutub Shah, he was very friendly with his subject. You'll be surprised to know that Chhatrapati Shivaji came to Golconda in 1670s. He stayed here for 1 month. And there are proofs of his stay here, because he had laid the foundation of Kesari Hanuman in Karwan, then Devatala Gupta near Badampet, Hanuman's temple. So he was a very friendly ruler, didn't give trouble to him. And he is the man who revived the time Kuchipudi dance. While on a visit to Kuchipudi, he liked the dance very much and asked the Guru Satyanarayana, who requested him to give some financial help. So 4 villages were given as jagir. The dance flourished and still is flourished. All due to Tana. So you can just gauge, you can just imagine, you can just analyze and conclude what type of a man he was. During his time, there was foreign trade. There was the navy, Golconda Navy. Earlier to him, I'd like to just take you back. We speak of the Golconda diamonds. The diamonds were never found in and around Golconda. They were found in Vajrakattur, Kollur, Paritala, Krishna Basin, Godavari Basin. which are all under the Qutub Shahi kingdom. The kingdom extended up to Srikakulam, a part of Tamil Nadu, part of present Maharashtra, a part of present Karnataka. Such a vast kingdom, I think, bigger than the Mughal Empire. But as you know, the South Indians are relegated to second place. The historians never gave importance to the South Indians. It is not now, it is right from the Vedic days. The South was ignored. It is another story. So Aurangzeb was looking for a chance to attack. In 1687, he attacked Gul, laid siege to the fort for 6 long months. He could not enter the fort. So you can just imagine the high-profile arrangement which could have been made by Tana Shah for his subject inside the fort. Unfortunately, which has been a part of our Indian history, connivance, treachery. So two Qutub Shahi generals, Abdullah Khan Pani and Ranmast Khan, they joined hand with the Mughal generals. A gate was opened. The army entered on the 21st of September 1687, and Golconda was captured. That was the last day of my ancestors, Qutub Shahs. How great, how pious, how religious Tana Shah was. An interesting example. When the Mughal generals went to arrest him at Bala Hisar, you will be surprised to know that he was taking his breakfast. Golconda has gone, but he is sitting quietly, without any trouble, without any figure. He was taking his breakfast. These generals were astonished. They asked him, how come that you are now being arrested? Your kingdom has gone and you are sitting at the breakfast table. So he said, I have seen the life, the rise and fall of various things. I am not bothered. God has given me the title of a king and God has taken back that title. The most interesting feature of Tana Shah is he lived for 70 years. And his lifespan can be divided into 5 equal years of 14 each. First 14 years, he was in Golconda Fort, languishing. Nobody paid any attention to him. Next 14 years, from 15 to 28, he was a pupil of Shah Raju Khattab. He served his master in the Khanqa or monastery. Next 14 years after his marriage, he was again brought to Golconda. Next 14 years, 42 to 56, he ruled as the last Qutub Shahi king. And then when he was imprisoned at the age of 56 and kept in the Raigir fort, that is Daulatabad, he died at the age of 70. So 14, 14, 14, 14. And see the irony. He is buried in Huldabad. Huldabad is about 12 kilometers from Daulatabad, where Aurangzeb is also buried, at the feet of his master guru, Sheikh Burhanuddin. The tomb of Aurangzeb is in a cover. There is a dome, there is a beautiful jali. Across the road, almost diagonally opposite, to the Aurangzeb's grave is the grave of Tamasha, open to sky. See the fate. Even after the death, both the victor and the vanquished are facing each other. Now September, when we speak of September, in Hyderabad, September is usually caught as Sitamgar, troublemaker. Because according to them, this month is not good for Hyderabadis. The 1908 flood in September, 28th of September. Fall of Hyderabad, police action, 17th September. Ends the story of my ancestors. Now allow me to speak about me, Hyderabad. From 1687 to 1724, 37 long years, I was just perishing. There was no halchal, no activity. Although the governors of the Subedars took charge of Deccan, Hyderabad, but there was no activity. No great man, no great building, no great event. I was alive, I was there. But like that couplet, कि जिंदा हूँ इस तरह कि गमे जिंदगी नहीं, जिंदा हूँ इस तरह कि गमे जिंदगी नहीं, जलता हुआ दिया हूँ मगर रोशनी नहीं. Although I was burning, but there was no light. I was in distress. Then came the year 1724, when the last governor or Subedar, Mughal Subedar, because Hyderabad had come under Golconda also, under Mughal Empire, Nawab Mir Khamruddin Khan, he arrived here as the last governor, and like Qutbul Mulk, my first ancestor, he also declared his independence because the Mughal Empire was in shambles. It was about to collapse. Ahmad Shah, usually you might have heard, Ahmad Shah Rangile, he was ruling as the Mughal Empire or king. So he declared his independence and established the Asaf Jahi Empire. Asaf Jah was the title bestowed upon him by the Mughal Empire Ahmad Shah, and he was called as the Nizam by another Mughal Empire, Farrukh Siyar. Nizam means an administrator. Asaf, those who know something about the old history, Asaf was the prime minister of King Solomon. Asaf means a very wise man, Chatur, like Chanakya. So when he came here in 1724, a new lease of life was given. I once again became alive. So 37 long years gone, waste. Asaf Jah the first is Mir Khamruddin Khan. In my opinion, I stand to correction, was one of the greatest statesmen of India. He was a man of sword and man of pen. He fought 56 battles, received more than 70 injuries, Zakham. And he wrote a document which is as important, as meaningful as Magna Carta. It was written by Lala Mansara. There are 34 points in that charter, 34 points. The original is in British Museum, London. The government should think of getting it back. So, Asaf Jah, he first made not me as the capital, but he made Aurangabad as the capital. not me. So Aurangabad became capital. He used to come to Hyderabad frequently. After his death in 1748, there was an infight for the succession. First, his eldest son, Nasir Jang, took charge. He was killed by the Nawabs of Kurnool. Next, his nephew, Muzaffar Jang, ruled for some months. He was also killed. Then next, Basalat Jang, he became the ruler, who ruled for 12 years. But none of them is called a Nizam. They are known as lesser Nizams. They have got titles, but not Nizams. After 16 years, second son of the first Asaf Jah, or the first Nizam, Nawab Mir Nizam Ali Khan, took charge by imprisoning his elder brother, Salabat Jang, and he became the second actual ruler and is referred to as the second Nizam, Nizam Ali Khan. In 1762, he became the second Nizam. Next year, following year, 1763, he once again made me the capital, leaving Aurangabad. So that was a great year for me, for Hyderabad. 1763, when Hyderabad again became the capital of Hyderabad state. Nizam Ali Khan was a great man. Only one thing which I would like to mention about his rule, that a galaxy of noblemen are found in the history during his regime. You will not find anywhere else. Of course, in the period of Mehboob Ali Khan you will find. But here also you will find galaxy of noblemen, galaxy of writers, scholars, administrators. Mir Alam, Arastuja, Maharaja Chandulal, Khande Rao, Jaswant Rao, Nimbalkar, Rao Ramdas, Kirkpatrick, and then the well which you have seen, Malikabad, the great coach, whose Jagir was the complete achievement on which stands Usmania University and the campus, Malikabad. They are all found in that particular period of Nizam Ali Khan. During his time, William Palmer founded a bank known as Palmer Bank, gave a loan to the government, duped the government. I think that was the first bank scam where the bank had to close down. William Palmer. Raja Bankati Das, a great Gujarati businessman, was also a member of that syndicate. So when Nizam Ali Khan passed away, the next Nizam was Mir Akbar Ali Khan Sikandar Shah. Two important things occurred during his time. One, the residency was built for the British residents. And you'll be happy to know that Raja Kandaswamy Mudaliya was the chief contractor of Koti. residency. The second thing was that he gave a big piece of land beyond Saint Sagar for the Hyderabad contingent, a 6,000 strong British army who were by force they were staying here in Hyderabad. First he gave that complete area beyond Bolaram, and then he founded a city which is still known as Secunderabad in 1806. Now once again, I would like to draw your attention. Sikandar, you write as S-I-K-A-N-D-A-R or D-A-R, Sikandar. Whereas Secunderabad is written as S-E-C-U-N-D-E-R. Why? I don't know. Why the historian distorted it from Sikandar to be S-I-K-A-N-D-E-R, it has become S-E-C-U-N-D-E-R. However, Secunderabad and Kochi, these two were the great achievements of Sikandar. When Sikandar Shah died, Nawab Farkhunda Ali Khan, Nasirud-Dawla became the next Nizam. Not very significant period, except that he was interested in promoting the cottage industry. So much so that the entire paper to be used in government was prepared at Kaghazi Gura near Puranapur. That apparently is still there. After the death of Nasirud-Dawla, his son Afzalud-Dawla became the fifth Nizam. Afzalud-Dawla was a very handsome man, very well built, like a wrestler, very strong. He built a palace in Chowmahalla called as Afzal Mahal. Now Afzalud-Dawla, to his misfortune, he took charge in 1858. 1857 was the first war of independence, rather after 1 year only. A notable incident which took place was attack on residency by Rohilas and Afghans, led by Jamadar Turrebaz Khan and Mauli Alauddin. It was a very significant feature. And in those days, a very typical movement spread in Hyderabad. It is known as Wahhabi movement, which originated in Saudi Arabia, which is still strong nowadays. It is a highly fundamental and religious group. They only worship Allah, only Allah, not even Allah. They don't go to these shrines. They destroy the shrines. So that movement originated in Hyderabad during the period of Afzalud-Dawla. Afzalud-Dawla did not last long. His son, Nawab Mir Mehboob Ali Khan, became the next ruler. Very popular. The most popular of all the Sajjahs. So much so that affectionately he was called as Pasha or Mehboob. So much so that many Hindu families took his name and gave it to their children, like Mehboob Raj, Mehboob Narayan, Mehboob Prashad, Mehboob Bibi, Mehboob Devi. So that was the culture of Hyderabad. When Mehboob Ali Khan was put on the gaddi, he was only 2 years and 7 months old. He was taken care, tutored by Salar Jang the first, Nawab Mir Turab Ali Khan. A very honest, sincere and dedicated person to the Nizam's family. Now during this time, Mehboob Ali Khan also built some palaces. like the Sardar Mahal near Charminar, where there is municipal office, the Mehboob Mansion near the race course, the race course and the Mehboob Pavilion of Hyderabad race course, and many things he did for the benefit of his people. Like the second Nizam, his darbar was also filled with many aristocrats, nobles. The Salar Jungs, Salar Jung the first, Turab Ali Khan, Salar Jung the second, Layak Ali Khan, Salar Jung the third, Yusuf Ali Khan, who founded this Salar Jung Museum. The Paigas, Khurshid Jah, Asman Jah, and Bukharul Umrah. And all these three were the brothers-in-law of Mehboob Ali Pasha. And all these great nobles built many structures here in Hyderabad. Falaknuma Palace, the Deori of Khurshid Jah, Bashir Bagh Palace, Baradari of Khurshid Jah, Asmangarh, Zafargarh, and then the palaces around Begum Gate. The US Consulate, the Country Club, they're all built by these people, by the Paigas, Bukharul Umrah and his son. Maharaja Krishan Prasad was very favorite. Raja Girdhari Prasad Saxena, the Bansi Raja. Malwala, one of his family members was Ramkaran, where Bhagirathi ji lives, Ramkaran Road of Malwala family. They were all courtiers. Aghornath Chattopadhyay, the first principal of Nizam College. Asad Bagh was built, present Nizam College, by Nawab Fakhrul Mulk. The Iram Manzil at Panjagutta, the Iram Numa at the Erragata, they are all palaces built by these people. So rich, so great was the line of architecture in those days. Mehboob Ali Pasha met a very sad death. He died in Falaknuma Palace at the age of 42. And during his time there was the flash floods of 1908 for 3 days. A very costly incident. 15,000 houses, men were dead. Many thousand houses were collapsed. He opened all the Havelis, his palaces for the suffering people. His charity, his philanthropic activities, his love for humanity, they are all very famous even today. That's why he was called as Pasha. Now comes the last Nizam, Nawab Mir Usman Ali Khan. After the death of his father, he took over as the last Nizam. And I think among the Asaf Jahs, after the first Asaf Jah, he was the most erudite person.